Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm back. I'm gonna be closing out the show, but I did see a few questions I kind of wanted to go over. How do you jungle Bacchus? You jump on people. Mr. Bucknut trolling me. Actual, what you do is you just try and use the whole CC combo of the jump knock up into the ult to try and secure kills. That's really it. You get either pen boots or CDR boots, and you just kind of go to town. Your clear is okay enough to get away with it. The only reason it doesn't tend to work too much is he's kind of slow, and he doesn't have like the way to like gap close a huge distance like Serket, Merc, Thor, and like Loki and Thanatos do. He can leap, sure, but if he's warded out, he's never gonna get anything off, and so that's why you don't see him too often. Would Bulwark of Hope be good on Geb? Yeah, it can be. Generally, you have enough of a health pool, especially in terms of what's the best defense against mages. It tends to be health. Sure, magical protection is really nice, but having a high base health pool is generally enough with just the passive protections you get. And so, I would say it could work, but that's really only if you're like desperate for magical protection. Question: why is Loki first pick Ban Material now? Did he get a buff that I missed? It's not that he got a buff that you missed. It's people started to realize one of the weaknesses Loki had is that there are too many people in the game that he couldn't insta-gib, or too many people in the game that could stop his insta-gib. He was weak, and that was generally Warrior. And then Warriors were like, oh, Warriors are gonna eat this huge nerf. So guess who's now really good because a lot of the people in the game are squishier? Loki. And a lot of people started really kind of realizing that Loki could be quite valuable, and there have been a few other small changes to like items and god balance that Loki just tends to be really good now. I would say he's definitely not on top of like Mercury and Serket. I think are more higher bands than he is, but he's definitely up there now, and that's mainly the reason. Is just the people who countered him got nerfed, and so he didn't even need a buff to be brought into play. Thoughts on Chronos Pen? I realize it's a pretty situation, but does it have a place where there's something that would work better in its place? I'm starting to actually like it a little bit more. I've always hated getting a Breastplate of Valor when I didn't really feel like I was in danger of dying too often. Because, like, sure, now I'm tankier, good. I needed that CDR, but, like, I didn't really need the survivability because I'm already in, like, a pretty safe position, and I'm not in danger of, like, being insta-gibbed by Loki or something. And so it always felt bad when I had to build it for the CDR. And so I think in situations like that where it's like, I really could use CDR. Like, I've built, like, boots and like, Bancrofts, and I'm a little bit ahead so I can afford for some CDR, and I want a character that would be really good with CDR, like Kronos or, Isis, or really anyone else. I'd say Chronos Pendant has a place there, is where you'd get it. I think it's better. It definitely is better than it used to be, because it did actually get a buff, and people still didn't want to use it, but I think it's actually pretty good. Tour of the house. I could post a video of it. I could actually post a video of it on the channel. Right now you can't because my camera is pretty much at max length right now. And can you explain the armor thing that you mentioned earlier? Yeah, so this will be how I close out, and I've gone over this multiple times. We'll actually bring up my fanciness. I actually have some fanciness here. Let's see if this actually works the way I intended it to. Not quite. It tried. Oh, I know why I didn't save it. Well, rip me. Well, you know, this works. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. We'll make do with what we have to work with. So let's just move me over here in the corner, right? So we'll use the space to kind of explain it. So let's just go over it. Super basic. Test. We'll make sure this has a stroke on it, just so it's really easy to see. Ooh, that does not look good. Good. Oh, the green screen doesn't look good with this. Damn. That's actually a little bit sad. I was hoping it'd look a lot better. We'll just bring Wolfram Alpha. I'll bring up a full screen of my main monitor. Monitor capture. Monitor 2? That is not the right monitor. Monitor 1? Nope. Really, my middle monitor is monitor 3? What kind of setup do I use? I'm literally the worst. So, I'm gonna bring up Wolfram Alpha real quick. And so this is gonna delve a little bit into math, and a lot of people have already heard me have this rant before. Um, so basically, let's zoom in just so you guys can see it a little bit better. The formula for armor, and so this is how armor works in Smite, is basically if I have 100 armor, it's going to be 100 over 100 plus 100. So 100 over 200, so I take 50% damage. So if that means that ability would do 100 damage to me and I have 100 armor, I'm going to take 50 damage, is what that means. And so if you actually look at 100 over 100 plus x, where x equals 0 to 350, you can see this graph that appears, right? And you can see where it's actually this curve that gets flatter and flatter and flatter. And what this shows is, for the first 50 armor, so if I look at 50, this is somewhere like 66.6, right? So if 50 armor got me 33.3% protection. Then the next 50 only got me an extra 16% protection. The next 50 only is going to get me something like 10%. The next 50 is only going to get me something like 7%. So the more actual protection I get, the less and less it actually reduces my damage. And that's just how armor works based off this formula. So what that means is, if I'm a squishy target with only 40 armor, so I'm right here, and then someone provides an extra 20, that's going to be a much bigger boost than if I'm at 110 and I do go to 130. And that's what I meant by that, when I said that Sovereignty worked really well, especially with the squishier members of your team, because it's going to overall reduce damage the most. What this also means is, if they're at 60 armor and I reduce them by 20, I'm also increasing my damage more than if they were at 150 and I'm going to 130. And so this is why Pen is really more for killing assassins and squishy mages than it is really for killing tanks. Because, like, if they're at 200 armor and I reduce 33%, so that would be 66 armor. So they're about here. I only took them really from like, what is that? 30, looks like maybe like 37% to, I don't know, 40 something percent. So like, I actually didn't really increase my damage too much by buying a Titan's Bane. This doesn't take into account total effective hit points, which someone did actually bring up, which Becoming did. And so total effective health is essentially, let's say I'm at 1,000 health and 100 armor. If I were to take, what would my health be that I would die at the same exact time if I just had 0 armor? So if an attack does 200 damage to me and I have 100 armor, I'm taking 50% reduced, right? So each attack is hitting me for 100 damage. So that means it's going to take 10 auto attacks to kill me. If I had 0 armor, but I still took those 10 attacks, I would need 2,000 health. And that would be what my total effective health is. And so what this means is, per point of health you get, armor becomes more effective because it brings up your total effective health. So as you build more armor, or as you build more health, you build... as you build more health, armor becomes more effective. As you build more armor, health becomes more effective. So it's worth kind of noting that that's a thing. As Mace kind of said, it's a little bit irrelevant here. It matters more when you're working with a lot larger values. In terms of Smite, it is worth noting how Pen kind of works, because it's really effective at increasing damage. Total effective health is a little bit weaker of a stat to compare to, because everyone's health is only up to like 3,000, and tanks are going to have such a straightforward build anyway that they're kind of already optimizing total effective health. You're not going to be able to like really inch anything out of this discussion. But yeah, it's just worth noting how this math works. And mainly I was just bringing up the point that, like, if you're at 40 and you're getting the extra 20 from Sovereignty, it's more effective than if you're at 100 going to 120. I mean, sure, it depends on the health too, but that's just kind of how it goes, and that's why like Sovereignty is really good, because it lets your squishy targets become far less squishy. Yeah, health complements armor and vice versa. Is pretty much what that means. But yeah, I let the show go on too long. I don't mind necessarily going on for like an hour and a half, but I'm definitely trying to make this like an hour-long show, because I really only have so much time to be able to stream. I might come back later tonight because I do have tomorrow off, and I might stream a little bit later, but if I stream, it's going to be in like an hour or two. So if you want, you can follow me, and you can see when I come online. I'm going to be doing these shows every other day is kind of the plan. tentatively expect 3 to 4 a week, depending on how it goes. And it's going to cover varying topics, like one day it'll be God Guides, one day it'll be general strategy, one day it'll be going over high-level gameplay. I might even look to actually get professional players on the show, like see if maybe I can get someone to come in and talk about stuff and ask them questions and get their insight on why they do what they do. I think that'd be really good too. So I think that's kind of the goal of the show. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I think a lot of people are really enjoying it. I know going into that Thanatos, I skyrocketed when I started really going into Thanatos from like 120 to like 300, and I think that was pretty cool. But for now, I'm gonna go. So I shall say my goodbyes. OBS, where did you go? Where are you hiding? OBS? There it is. We found it. So I'm gonna go. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm having a lot of fun with the show. Feel free to leave feedback. You can either leave it on Twitter, you can leave it like send me a message, give me some feedback. Some of the things I'm working on is really trying to integrate more of the actual Smite client into it, because I know just me staring at the camera, it's good, but it definitely needs to not be the whole show of just me sitting here talking. And I think it would have probably been better for me to be a little bit more concise with Thanatos, give some more time to Geb, and have like an Eonic replay. But again, this is still a work in progress, so let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go for now. So good night. I might be on in about an hour or two, so feel free to follow me or Twitter or on here, and you guys will see if I do end up going online later on tonight. So goodbye, everyone.